Sorry that I've been gone for so long, but this is a flatworm or platyhelminthes. This flatworm is most likely from the genus Planaria, from the family Planaridae. There are many ways you can tell this is a flatworm. One of the main reasons is you can see that both of those black dots on its head, those are each photoreceptors. They sense light. And them being in the same side means that it is a flatworm. They're kind of like a flounder fish if you have seen one of those before. Both eyes are on one side because they're so flat. They only see from a limited viewpoint of vision. Another way you can tell that this is a flatworm is if you look at the very front in the head. If I can actually manage to get it in focus, there's a tube-like thing that condenses as it moves. That is actually called the pharynx. It's basically responsible for eating and bringing the food to the esophagus for digestion. It's similar to the mouth of a human. You can think of that as basically just the planarian's mouth. If this worm indeed is a planarian, it would have to be a juvenile. The reasons for that is because it does not have two small protrusions coming from its head where its mouth is, or its pharynx. Another reason is its pharynx isn't extended. It appears to be moving with its head instead of sticking out under its body, which would match an adult. It is also a lot smaller than normal, which makes sense as some species don't split but actually breed some planarians, which means this would actually be a baby similar to how humans reproduce, except it would be from an egg. The actual adults of this genus are carnivorous and they eat daphniids mostly and shrimp or other invertebrates like that live in the water, of course, like they do. Some of their adults are even terrestrial, some of the larger species, but this one is aquatic. So in this bright field footage here, you can see some finer details of it with some different contrasting. And one of those things you can see easier is those two black dots, which I mentioned earlier are its photoreceptive cells. They sense light and help it see that and navigate its surroundings. But it also has several other senses in its nervous system. It has the photoreceptors, but it also has chemoreceptors, mechanoreceptors, thermoreceptors. The chemoreceptors are chemical sensitive, as in they can smell and taste different chemicals. The mechanoreceptors are basically its touch. They sense touch and pressure, and the thermoreceptors sense the temperature around it, which is very important. Here's what this planarian looks like with the 40 times objective. I tried to increase the contrast a little bit digitally through Adobe Premiere Pro, but I accidentally adjusted the color temperature, so the algae would usually look a lot more green. That is not any sort of golden algae. that is just green algae. It looks very weird, but you can see the bristles a bit better on the worm. And you can also see those photoreceptive cells. Sadly, of course, the nerves are too small to see, so we're not going to be able to actually see that under the microscope without fluorescent light. But I also have a question. This video will only be in 1080p this time instead of 4K, but the other videos were at 15 FPS and they were sort of inconsistent because the laptop I was using couldn't run it very well. But these are in 1080p and it's much more consistent 30 FPS. So I'd like to know if that's a good trade-off for resolution and consistency of frame rate over just the high resolution and the low frame rate. I thought it would be specifically important here so that you can see it move around with its pharynx. So goodbye.